In answering the questions of the Mah Nishtanah, the Talmud has a dispute whether we should focus on the physical slavery and the eventual redemption, which is represented by the first words after the Mah Nishtanah, Avadim hayinu l'far b'Mitzrayim, we were slaves to Paro in Egypt, and then Hashem took us out, v'yotzienu Hashem l'keinu misham b'yad chazaka v'zor netuya, that God took us out with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Or should we answer, as is mentioned later on in the Haggadah, in the beginning, our forefathers were worshiping idols. And now God has brought us to worship Him. And the question really is, should we tell our children about our physical redemption or our spiritual redemption? And in a spirit of compromise, the Haggadah, the author of the Haggadah, incorporates both answers. I'd like to just focus for a minute on the nature of both answers. The first one is quite simple. We have to talk to our children and explain our history. We were oppressed in Egypt and we gained our freedom. We were oppressed during the pogroms in Europe and we gained our freedom eventually. We had the Holocaust and we established the State of Israel. We moved from oppression to freedom. It's a beautiful story and one which we always have to aspire to make sure that we were freedom, we could express ourselves both as individuals and as a nation. On the other hand, the other focus is on the spiritual. We have to make sure that we still don't end up in the same problem, with the same problems that we always had. Terach was a worshiper of idols. Avram rose up. Avram is his name, exalted father. He was our leader, our father, who gave us a model of behavior that taught us how to now focus on worshiping God and understanding that there's only one God. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And there's the unity of God, and we're no longer going to be pagans worshiping all the different idols. And now we've come to a point where we're brought under God's rule. We stand by Mount Sinai and we say, Nasa v'nishma, we will do and we will listen to whatever God tells us. On the one hand, you could say, okay, that's a great story, and now we're free of that. How many Jews are pagans? How many Jews are worshiping idols? Not only that, the Talmud tells us that after the temple was destroyed, the rabbis destroyed the desire for idol worship. They recognized that idol worship is not a problem anymore, and they said, oh, you know why? Because we destroyed that desire. Now nobody even cares about idols anymore. But I would like to tell you that I think that that's actually not so accurate. We might not be bowing down to wood and stone, but really, what is the essence of Avodah Zarah? What is the essence of idol worship? Idol worship simply is an expression of worshiping ourselves. We take what is human, we project it onto our gods, whether that's power, whether it's sexual, whether it's dominion over other nations, whatever it is, we take those ideals that we think are the most important aspects of our humanity. We project it onto God, and then we worship them. So we're really worshiping ourselves. So the truth is that Avodah Zarah, idol worship, is really a problem of ego. And worshiping God is saying that, no, there's something outside of ourselves. There's a bigger truth. The unity of God is saying that all of humanity, all of the universe has one truth, and that's what we're supposed to seek, and that's what we're supposed to worship. And when we focus on ourselves, we focus on our ego, we're going to go down the road of suffering and seeking pleasure and power rather than seeking truth. And it's very important for us to realize that our goal in life is to create a sense of humility. Not necessarily that we don't have self-esteem, not that we don't have confidence in ourselves, but we have to realize that it's not all about us. It's not all about our ego. And that probably is also symbolized by the matzah. A lot of commentaries say, what does the matzah represent? Flat bread. Flat bread is something that doesn't rise. Something rises like bread, that's their ego. And as bread is mostly just air. And that's what we are when we have an ego. We're just full of hot air. And we have to realize that we have to compress that and humble ourselves. There's a verse in Micha, I believe, that says, you should walk humbly with God. You have to realize that you are not the determining factor in what makes the world go round. It's something outside of you. There are principles of truth which we represent in God. And if we realize that, we can now not only devote ourselves to God, but devote ourselves to fellow human beings, to our family, to our community. And that avodah zarah, that idol worship, that paganism still exists today and is possibly the downfall of many cultures and many societies. It's only when we rise up and remove ourselves from serving our own ego that we're able to move to a position where we gain a level of spirituality and purity that we could eventually have the ultimate redemption, the ultimate geula, when we return to Israel, not only in the physical sense, which we've done, but then also to purify ourselves and to come to the point where we're now a people of God, a people who search for truth and only want truth.